We have a question from Hey Andre. Tim, can you name one or two peers that have influenced your mindset or your work and why?
When I was looking for a way forward that was a lot more natural, a lot of the self help books I read tended to point to the extrovert ideal. I spent a long time reading very widely and trying to find advice or ways of working that were more like me. The pivotal moment was really in 2012. If you haven't read her book, you should definitely read Susan Cain's work in the book Quiet. She had done a ton of research into this field, way more than I have. It's a very good place to start to understand and see yourself that there is a different way of being in this world. Everything else I've read, I can name you a few other books that I found really influential. Jennifer Kahnweiler wrote the book The Introverted Leader. She is self-identified as an extrovert, but she went on to actually author a number of books about introversion, how people can work better together. Jennifer Kahnweiler. Other books I really enjoyed were Scott Berkun's Confessions of a Public Speaker. He gave a lot of very practical tips that you can use to get better at public speaking. He himself in the book also self-identifies as an introvert. Another book that comes to mind is Improv Wisdom. I can't remember the author's name, but it comes up with a lot of tactics that you can try to think on the spot and actually perform. In this context, it was with improv, like in a comedy show, to think, but a lot of these skills I think are very transferable and relatable to day-to-day work. Off the top of my head, those were the first few references that really influenced my work.
Amazing. Talking about introverted leader, Lisa says, I would love to hear your tips on how to demonstrate leadership skills and gain visibility without forcing myself to be loud and highly socialite, especially in a Western country. Any tips here, Tim?
Some of the things we've already mentioned. Not everything has to be a meeting. You'll be so surprised how a small thing like recording a short video of yourself sharing your thoughts. One thing that I used to do was, because we were working in a global company at the time, in the US, in the UK, in Australia, and in Asia, one of the things we did was a 2-week retro and also a monthly design team update. I used to record this and then share it broadly across the company. Because people were in different time zones, they didn't always have the time to log in. You'll be surprised how many times people then came up later, hey, I saw that update, it was a good update. In a short amount of time, you're able to actually tell me everything I needed to know to be aware. And again, being visible that way, not writing well actually takes a lot of effort. And a lot of times people prefer, in this day and age, I feel, whether it's scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, if you can actually tell people using video or multiple senses, like in a recording a short video of yourself, you actually communicate your thoughts a lot clearer. So definitely it's one of the ways that you can use to actually increase your visibility. Other things, if you combine everything that in the book, whether it's speaking at meetings, how to handle difficult conversations, how to give feedback, the main thing I hope people will understand is this: there's a different path to success. My path is about tiny habits, practice well, accumulated over time. It is not a silver bullet, like one magic skill that is going to make you all of a sudden a hero design leader. It is really from doing all these small little things, ideally all of them. But then the more you do, the more consistent you are. All this impact or these tiny habits that you practice will help accumulate over time and give you the impact that you are seeking as a design leader. So it's a different path. It is not a silver bullet. I don't have any silver bullets. What I do have is doing these small things. I can show up authentically because all these tiny habits feel very natural to me.
The last question is from me. You mentioned one of the things that you talk about in the book, or have also learned to do, is to introduce yourself. So would love to hear that sort of breakdown or structure. So focusing, like, also go home and be like, okay, I need to figure out how I introduce myself. Is this in a networking context, or is it to complete strangers, or is it something else?
The key thing on page number 20 is there are actually 3 sizes of introduction. You need 3 because you use them in different kinds of contexts. To keep it simple, I call them small, medium, large. A small introduction is something that you can say in one breath. It's something that is in 20 words or less. It is worth time to actually invest in filling in and writing it down what your small intro is so that you can actually use it in a networking event. Or maybe you bump into someone at a new company and you got mere seconds to introduce yourself. You're not going to be in this situation saying, hi, my name is Tim Yo, and I've been a design leader for 18 years. I worked in Singapore. You don't have time for that long, medium intro. You maybe have enough time to say it in one breath and to capture that person's interest. And the reason why you prepare is so that when you need to use this introduction, it's right there in your mind. And it's also very good if you have a few introductions. So maybe if I'm in the social context and I was walking my dog at the park and I bump into the person and they say, what do you do? I might say, I work in IT or I'm a web designer. If I was at a product design conference, I might say, I'm a product designer working at an early stage startup on their design system. What do you do? So you can have different kinds of introductions. What I go through in the book is a framework that you can use to actually build and structure your small introductions. I also have frameworks on how you can structure medium intros and when to use them. I also have a large intro, which might be something that you use in interviews or maybe the first day they join a team. And you have a bit more time and space to actually tell the story of who you are. So don't assume that there's only one size fits all. There's only one introduction that you can use. In my mind, there are 3 types of introductions and you can prepare a lot of these beforehand.
That's cool. I really like how you bucket it small, medium, large, because then it could be applicable for a lot of different situations. And of course, being designers, we want to cater our introduction also to our audience, right? Because not everybody cares that you're doing this thing. So you can kind of like leave out some of the stuff or customize as needed.
Maybe the last thing I'll say to the people who are quiet and who are watching this is that
want to listen to the full conversation? Click the video on screen now. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join us live. Oh, wait. Okay, fine, you don't have to join us for the live stream, but if you like stuff like this, then click that subscribe button. I'll see you on the inside. Bye!